This is a Fox News alert. I'm Shannon Bream in for Brett Baer. Not by coincidence, the State Department chooses the Friday before Memorial Day to release publicly the first batch of emails sent to and from Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. The ones from her unsecure private server. These are emails Clinton turned over herself, not the thousands that she says she deleted and are supposedly gone forever. We have Fox team coverage. James Rosen at the State Department tonight with an in-depth look at what's written in the emails. But we began with Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry covering the Clinton campaign in New Hampshire on Hillary's latest attempt to minimize the damage on multiple fronts. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Shannon. With all that trouble brewing back in Washington, Hillary Clinton tried today to escape here to New Hampshire, talk about the economy, but those ethics questions followed her all the way to this local brewery.
I'm glad that the emails are starting to come out. This is something that I've asked to be done, as you know, for a long time, and those releases are beginning.
This drama started earlier this year with the revelation that Hillary Clinton had put all of her official email on a private account on a personal server. So it's actually not clear she initially wanted the emails to come out. And as the State Department today released the first batch of 55,000 pages of official emails Clinton turned over, there was a new revelation. The FBI deciding some of one 2012 email related to the arrest of possible suspects in the Benghazi terror attacks needs to be classified after the fact.
I'm aware that the FBI has asked that a portion of one email be held back. That happens in the process of Freedom of Information Act responses.
Clinton made it sound routine, though at her March news conference at the United Nations, she made this vow.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
Today, as Clinton took questions from reporters for the second time this week, Fox and others pressed on why there was sensitive information on her personal server, since former CIA official Mike Morell believes that server was hacked by multiple foreign governments.
Do you have some concern that it was on a private server?
No.
But wasn't there sensitive information on that server? Clinton used the Smutty-Nosed Brewery in New Hampshire as the latest backdrop to try and shift the focus of her campaign back to her small business initiative.
We are now, in my view, kind of out of the ditch that we were thrown into with the Great Recession. We're standing up, and now we've got to start running again.
The same could be said of her campaign, slowed by a series of revelations beyond email, from hefty speaking fees for her and former President Bill Clinton to foreign contributions to the Clinton Foundation. The foundation revealed late Thursday that Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton delivered nearly 100 speeches, netting the charity up to $26 million that had not been previously disclosed. Republicans say the bigger issue for them is the email the public has not seen, since Clinton deleted 30,000 emails that her lawyers claimed were personal.
I personally won't be satisfied till we look at the server, so I think we need to keep searching and see if we can find all of her emails to see whether or not she's being honest with us.
The foundation and the State Department both releasing bad news right on the eve of a holiday weekend. Classic time for a news dump. Shannon?
It always is. All right, Ed, thank you very much. Let's dive deeper into the substance of those emails. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen has that part of the story tonight.
In the 296 emails the State Department uploaded, often redacted, then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is seen receiving updates on the Benghazi attacks for weeks after they claimed the lives of U.S. Ambassador to Libya Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans on September 11, 2012. After UN Ambassador Susan Rice hit 5 Sunday talk shows on September 16, dismissing the idea that Benghazi was a terrorist attack, Clinton's Deputy Chief of Staff Jake Sullivan wrote her to say he found one line uttered by Rice, quote, troubling. It was the sentence on ABC's This Week where Rice suggested the investigation into the attacks might reach a different conclusion.
We have a strategic plan. We know which embassies are more in danger than others.
When Undersecretary of State Patrick Kennedy, in charge of all State Department buildings worldwide, wrapped up a tough day of House testimony on October 10, Clinton nervously emailed Sullivan to ask, did we survive the day? Survive, yes, Sullivan replied. Pat helped level set things tonight.
Do you have a perception problem? Many Americans don't believe that you've told the truth on Benghazi.
Well, I'm going to let the Americans decide that. Thank you all.
A week after Kennedy's testimony, Clinton appears to have requested from Sullivan, and Sullivan appears to have forwarded to Clinton a copy of the Benghazi talking points that Sullivan and other officials at State, the White House, and CIA had labored over a month earlier when they painstakingly scrubbed the document, intended for lawmakers' consumption, of its initial references to terrorist involvement. The next day, October 18, Clinton Chief of Staff Cheryl Mills forwarded to the boss a Reuters interview with Abu Khatallah, a Libyan militia commander who bragged about being present for the attacks and who 2 years later would be arrested and charged for his role in them. It was 3 months after she read Khatallah's mocking interview that Clinton famously spun out to Senate lawmakers a scenario that the Benghazi attacks may have benefited from no premeditation at all.
Or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
The emails also show a surprisingly cozy confidence between Mills and Matt Olsen, then the head of the National Counterterrorism Center. Olsen had been the first U.S. official to declare Benghazi a terrorist attack 1 week after the killings there. But in November 2012, he was privately emailing Clinton's right-hand aide to tell her that he thought congressional hearings on Benghazi were going fine, that his own interrogation by the Accountability Review Board, or ARB, went very well, and also to warn Clinton that, quote, "we continue to fend off questions about the unclassified talking points."
In general, why would sort of saying it went fine, why would that be inappropriate?
I'm just not clear on the necessity of a senior intelligence official communicating with the Secretary of State's Chief of Staff about these things.
Well, I'm not clear why you're suggesting there's impropriety.
Finally, the emails show that on September 15, 2012, 4 days after the Benghazi attacks, Hillary Clinton, who famously asked if Barack Obama was ready for the 3 a.m. phone call, herself slept through the meeting where she was supposed to receive the president's daily brief, the most sensitive classified document that the intelligence community produces. In fact, Clinton awoke that day at 10:40 a.m. Shannon.
All right, much more with the panel on all of these new emails. James Rosen at the State Department. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
The Senate is working against the clock right now to come up with rules on phone surveillance in what's being described as a game of legislative chicken. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel is live tonight on Capitol Hill as it all goes down. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Shannon. We expect critical votes to determine which option would have 60 votes in the United States Senate. Democrats want to pass the House-approved USA Freedom Act, which would ask the telecom companies to keep phone records instead of the NSA. Republican leaders say there are weaknesses in that bill and would prefer a 2-month extension of current law. Democrats are against extending, but there's some thought a 1-week extension to get beyond the Memorial Day holiday could work. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has been pushing for the 2-month extension, worried the House plan on phone records could be a disaster.
The untried and as of yet non-existent bulk collection system envisioned under that bill would be slower and more cumbersome than the one that currently helps keep us safe. At worst, it might not work at all due to many other problems.
Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr has offered a compromise which would include the House bill and allow 2 years for the transition from the NSA keeping phone records to the telecom companies. Today, the Attorney General said failure to extend these programs is not an option.
We run the risk of essentially being less safe. I think that we lose important tools. I think that we lose the ability to intercept these communications, which have proven very important in cases that we have built in the past. And I'm very concerned that the American people will be unprotected if this law expires.
There's a 2016 political component with New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, a former United States attorney, saying, quote, "You can't enjoy your civil liberties if you're in a coffin." Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee blasted Christie's defense of the Patriot Act.
I view that as a statement tantamount to political pornography. I think Mr. Christie should be ashamed of himself for saying that we have to choose between the Fourth Amendment and following the Fourth Amendment and respecting the privacy of the American people on the one hand, or a coffin on the other hand. That's absolutely ridiculous.
So critical votes this evening. The White House is not ruling out the president signing a short-term extension. Shannon?
All right, could be a long, busy night for Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stocks were off today. The Dow lost 54. The S&P 500 dropped 5. NASDAQ fell 1.5. For the week, the Dow gave back 1/5 of a percentage point. The S&P 500 was up about 1/5. NASDAQ gained 4/5. Up next, new questions tonight about whether Chris Christie's temper is hurting his presidential hopes. First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 16 in Little Rock, Arkansas, with trouble for a reality TV star. Josh Duggar has resigned his position with the Family Research Council after a published report that he confessed to sexually molesting 5 underage females. Duggar appears on the reality show 19 Kids and Counting with his family. He posted an apology on Facebook for, quote, inexcusable behavior in the past, and said both he and those affected underwent counseling. Late today, the TLC network pulled the hit show off the air. Fox 11 in Los Angeles says 31 California residents are diagnosed with a strain of salmonella linked to raw tuna commonly used in sushi. A total of 53 cases have been reported in 9 states. And this is a live look at New York from Fox 5. More than 1,800 Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard members are in the city for Fleet Week. Today, the Air Force Thunderbirds staged a flyover from Long Island to New York City, then along the Hudson River. The week features Navy and Coast Guard vessels of all sizes. That is tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.